Welcome to Politics Done Right on KPFT. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Give me a call at 713-526-5738. That is 713-526-KPFT. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for spending this 1 hour with me. We are going to have a great show today. We're going to be talking about, well, I think you guys have a good idea of what it's going to be about because, folks, we have no choice. Once again, we are looking at Shannon. What are we looking at?
Well, what occurred over in Charlotte and Tulsa, another police shooting of African Americans.
Another police shooting of black men. You know, anytime I do these shows, right? It is like, what else is there new to say? Well, at last I have something new in the blog of the week to talk about that this detective had to say. And I think once we start saying it, of course, you guys remember from other shows what I had to say about the matter. The cops are simply a reflection of our society. A cop, a police officer, is simply a reflection of society, and it has a culture. Sorry, Christy Cahill, for the buffering that occurs. I hope our network gets better as the day goes along to make the feed better on Facebook. But Shannon, before we get all serious about it, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
How was your week? Did you get over that cold?
I'm almost completely over it. I would say about 92%, but still has that little drain.
Well, based on the pitch nose, I kind of feel that it's going away.
Thanks.
Anyhow, folks. Anyhow, Shannon, you were talking to me something about Donald Trump. What were you saying again?
Oh, his statements are this week about when he was, commenting about what occurred this last week, and he said that African Americans have it the worst they've ever had it in history. Does he not know about our history?
Apparently, he doesn't know about our history because I kind of have a feeling that slavery was a bit worse because I think we used to get whipped. I think we used to get burned and boiled. And then I think, if I remember, there's a part of our history called Jim Crow where we couldn't vote. We couldn't look. I couldn't look at you in the eye. I'm looking at you in the eye right now. Yeah. I couldn't do that, man. You know how to get killed for doing that, you know?
Yeah, making videos together.
No, I mean, I can't.
Stuff.
Are you kidding me? I would be dead. You know, don't laugh because I said I would be dead and you're smiling.
It is brutal. It's so true. It's horrible.
But
you speak the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but folks, I want to engage you guys, and for any police officers that are listening, I hope you're listening, police officers. I want you to call me some of you have called in before. I'd love to hear from you again. This is an important show, and I'd like you to the ones here in Houston, I want you to kind of make our Houstonians, especially black men here in Houston, a little bit more comfortable. So
yeah, let's hear from
police officers, I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you have to tell these folks in Houston that constantly see right around the country that whether they follow your orders or not, they're still susceptible to getting their heads blown off. So again, my friends, police officers alike, give us a call after the blog of the week. But hey, Shannon, we are going to have a good show. You know, once again, we are confronted with a week where 2 black men were killed by police officers. The one on video shows the person following police orders and still getting killed. The second one was a man just sitting in his car, seemingly waiting for his son. It is clear that every person of color has reason to fear any encounter with police. Police officers, is that true here in Houston as well? Please call me. Let me know. Irrespective of their behavior, police bias is real. We will talk about that. But before I get to the program, I want to remind all our listeners that KPFT is a bastion of intelligent voices and programs. As a political activist myself, my favorites are The Monitor with
Mark Babawi
on Mondays at
7 p.m.
Think Wing Radio with
Mike Honig
on Mondays at
9 p.m.
This is yours, Partisan Gridlock
with Jeff Berg at 3 p.m. on Fridays.
And Open Journal with
Marlo Blue and our own Hetty Van Bagel. And, our own general manager,
Dwayne
Bradley, at 8 a.m. every weekday.
And we have Jazz Latino, Afro-Cuban Latin jazz at its best, and it's hosted by
Juan Flores.
The one and only Juan Flores on Mondays at,
I believe that's 10 p.m.
You got it right, 10 p.m. It's at 10 p.m., folks, so check it out, KPFT. Check it out. Our full schedule is at kpft.org, where you can find programming from music to politics to medicine to the eclectic. KPFT is a listener-supported public community radio station, so folks, please do remember that if you like what you hear, visit kpft.org and ensure we remain strong, a viable community radio station that provides news, programming, and information not influenced by whom? The corporatocracy. I like to hear how you say it. What you say?
Corporatocracy.
There you go. And this is KPFT 90.1 FM, Houston, Texas. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear your thoughts. Let us talk. I am also following the hashtag Politics Done Right. And my Twitter is egbertowillies.com, the website egbertowillies.com, or politicsdoneright.com, folks. But you know what? I think you all know what time it is.
It's time for the weekly blog post.
All right. This is a difficult one. This is a difficult blog post, but here we go. A few months ago, while attending Netroots in 2016 in St. Louis, Missouri, I took an Uber with former Senator Nina Turner, who was Democrat of Ohio, and state senatorial candidate Tamara Johnson-Shealy, Democrat from Georgia, to visit the site of Michael Brown's killing by police officer Darren Wilson. Standing at that site where his body was, it was surreal. I didn't think it would have had the influence that it had on me, but folks, he lay there north of 4 hours like an animal. A profound effect on me it had, a very profound effect on me. I am usually stoic and barely show outward emotion, but this one hits home. The same applies to the two women one who cried visibly, overcome with the fact that this was not some isolated incident. These women both have sons, including one who is a police officer. Since the Michael Brown killing, police officers killed several more innocent black men. To be clear, these taking of innocent lives are not new to communities of color. It simply never got reported. However, cell phones with cameras made everyone a citizen journalist. These citizen journalists brought to the forefront the violence with which some police officers treat people of color. Secondly, it showed the frequency with which they lied on police reports. And that is an important part that I need to say, where several of them have lied on police reports. And Mark, police officer, I kindly thank you for calling in. We'll talk to you right after the blog of the week, my friend. Since Michael Brown's killing, police officer, I read that paragraph already. Anyhow, retired police detective Mark Claxton appeared on MSNBC with some poignant statements. When you think about it, Claxton said, you have to believe that time and time again, you have black folk, unarmed black folks many times, sometimes armed black folk possibly, who are committing basically suicide by police, who are engaging in a course of conduct that is so abhorrent and abnormal that they are placing themselves at the mercy of a police force. And that just can't be the case. Instead of us looking at examining the realities in certain communities by certain police officers and police agencies, we choose to be dismissive of concerns of people. And that is where you find that the frustration is beginning to boil over. But you can't dismiss the reality of a history and a legacy of police violence toward black people. There is no way to dismiss that. It is time to now address it affirmatively. So said police detective Mark Claxton, retired detective. But he wasn't done there. He expressed frustration that should affect us all. Why must one always preface cops with some statement of benevolence before identifying the problem, given all the innocent dead black men and people of color killed by police officers? This is what he said, quote, "First of all, I have a huge problem with some of the genuflection that goes on towards police," Mark Claxton said. "It is time for us to stop this thing about lionizing police. And I am talking as from a professional police officer, retired now for several years. I was a volunteer. I wasn't a victim. I was a volunteer. I knew what my responsibilities were. I knew that I knew what the job required. I knew that there would be difficult times. I knew I was faced with extremely dangerous positions. I knew there was a possibility that perhaps I would not make it home to my family at times. But I volunteered for that because I felt that I could perform and do the job. I said I could do the job, and I upheld those professional standards throughout my career. I think it is time for us to stop providing excuses and stop providing the disclaimer even when you criticize the police by saying 90% of police do a great job. These things are a given. It is time for us to really address the issues that concern a large segment of our society without having to lionize and bow down before police officers. These are volunteers and not victims, and they should be held to high professional standards. And it is time this country, this government does just that." Close quote. Police officers reflect society. They bring those prejudices into their job like anyone else. The difference is that those biases affect their judgment. Unless laws and rules are modified to jail them for instituting their prejudices, nothing will change. Nothing has changed because this problem is a problem deemed by the majority not a problem of their own. It is a national lack of empathy. When some people find excuses, when videos show at best overreaction or at worst assassinations, they choose not to believe their own eyes. Charlotte Police Chief Kerr Putney made his priorities clear when he said the aim is to protect assets, property, and buildings. He said nothing about the human problem within his departments. Stop for a minute with my blog. I understand that they have mentioned or said that, yes, we want to solve the problem, but the emphasis that they put on property has a ring to it that folks should start listening to. Property over humanity. Property over humanity. Property over humanity. What will it take to correct failed policing in America? The lack of empathy by our society requires subjecting us all to some sort of discomfort. That is the importance of Black Lives Matter and other organizations bringing this issue to the forefront. While any action taken must be peaceful, I repeat, any action taken must be peaceful. It must speak the language that seems to effect change in this country. Economic pain to those who hold power to institute change. Folks, the telephone number is 713-526-5738. Again, that telephone number is 713-526-5738. I have a police officer online. Mark, come on in. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing just fine, thank you.
Talk to me now. Did you? I hope you heard the entire blog. Did you?
I did.
Great. What's your thoughts? Frank.
I guess
very frank.
I'll try to keep it a smaller scope and just reference these last two incidents.
Yes.
I'm not going to be able to solve, or I can't solve the issue with policing in America or what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I would suggest is that part of the problem is we are such an instant gratification society that
Mm-hmm.
the bodies were not even cold with these gentlemen before there were people rioting in the streets. And anything that gets put online is instantly looked at as fact.
Right.
Regardless of where it comes from, regardless of how outrageous or what it says, regardless of the veracity of it, period.
Mm-hmm.
That is my big concern. Things happen before any facts get out at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's a knee-jerk reaction to automatically cause chaos. I mean, they were burning Charlotte down the same night, and obviously, there was no facts out other than the fact that somebody got killed.
Right.
And there's still not. I mean, the video's not been released. There's no facts that have been. There's no video been released to the public.
Mm-hmm.
So people are acting on base emotions and, filling in the blanks if they want to.
Right.
And as far as policing in America, the only thing I can say to that is...
Before you talk about that, Mark, how long have you been a police officer?
27 years.
Great. Oh, so you're a long timer. Okay, go ahead, my friend.
The society now asks police officers to do so many different jobs, to be mental health workers, to be social workers, to basically to do a whole bunch of jobs they never did in the past.
Right.
And until that's addressed, and you stop asking the police force in general to be doing the jobs of 5 other different
agencies,
what 5 other people should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot be. I'm not an expert mental health worker. I'm not a social worker.
Right.
Even though I've had to deal with these situations in the past, you can't expect me to do everything and do everything perfectly. It's unreasonable to ask anybody in any profession to take on 5 or 6 other roles and do them effectively and professionally and 100% correct all the time.
Now, let me just say, Mark, and I'm going to get a little political here, because first of all, what you just said about we're trying to get you to do everything is true. It's bad. It is horrendous. And that's why a whole lot of times it offends me, and I'm being political right now, when police organizations support policies and people and organizations that instead of funding the agencies that would take the load off of police officers, that would fund police officers so that they can really do policing, that would fund police officers so that they can be trained appropriately. Because like I stated in the blog post, we all know that police officers reflect society. I'm pretty sure in your office, you know that there are good police officers and there are racist police officers. I know you know that for a fact. You don't have to tell me. I know you know that. So my next question to you is this. Why is it that knowing that I know that you know that you and you as well, that more don't speak up? You talk about when the incidents like Charlotte occurs, how people immediately went to the street. Don't you think there's a genesis to that? There's a reason why they did that because of years of what never went unreported?
I think there's a myriad of reasons why they do that. That among them, yeah. I don't think you can cite one cause or one thing. Sure, I think it's a lot of build-up over time. I agree. And I think, I will be the first one to tell you, if police officers don't want bad police officers to work. I don't want to work with a bad police officer. I don't want to work with a dirty police officer.
But would you tell on a bad police officer?
Of course I would.
Okay.
And I think, the whole blue wall of silence thing, that's a myth from, a 70s TV movie. That's just not the society we live in anymore. You could talk to people that police back in the 50s and 60s. There was a whole lot of stuff that went on that there's no way that would go over in today's society. It just doesn't happen. Society's changed. The values have changed. And, that kind of behavior is just not tolerated. It's not. And the fact that I'm not going to cover up for somebody who's doing something illegal, immoral, or unethical. I'm just not going to do it. And I don't know anybody that I've worked with that would either.
Well, Mark, let me be frank with you. In listening to you, I believe you. In other words, I believe that you aren't going to do that. I also believe that you believe what you're saying. I honestly do. The problem is, how many officers are there in Houston?
Oh, thousands. I mean, I couldn't even begin to tell you.
Exactly. And how many precincts are there with different leaders within those precincts? Hundreds.
Yeah, I get where you're going. I mean, obviously, just by the fact of the numbers, there's going to be bad apples in there.
Right.
Of course there are, yeah.
And what I would want out of that, however, is when we find those bad apples, for guys like you, when you see certain things on TV, for guys like you, what would give a whole lot of the community confidence is that you don't always come out in defense of, you come out in defense of your profession. Absolutely. I defend your profession. I mean, let me just give you a little caveat here. I was coming here to the station, and all the other callers, I'm coming to you guys as well, my friends. I was coming here to the station, and I got pulled over. And as a black man, I'm always scared when I'm pulled over by a cop. And you may not feel that. I feel that. And
I'm scared when I get pulled over, too. So.
Okay, good. All right. So anyway, I'm telling you about me, however. Now, so I get scared. This cop pulled me over, and he was very, very nice. He was very, very respectful. And I'm a blogger as well, a full-time blogger. The first thing I did, I did the show. I went home, and I wrote a blog about the police officer. I also asked the police officer for a picture. I went ahead and I posted it. The guy got a community commendation or whatever it is that you guys call that there. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is we are not when you hear me talk about police officers, I am not looking to be downing on police officers. What I'm looking for is a solution. What I believe is we need solutions, and we need to get cops to stop being fearful unnecessarily of people who look like me. And I'm sure the facts, the facts, I think, speak for themselves. And that is, if most of the accidents or the fearful type shooting, or I feel my life was in danger, occur with people looking like me, then you must admit some training is needed to counteract those cops' biases. Don't you agree?
Sure.
Okay, so great. We are in the same team, my friend.
No, I didn't doubt that for a second. But also, you got to look at the society we live in now is not the same society we lived in even as far back as the 70s and 80s. There weren't people just shooting at the police officers either. I mean, we were living a really, really violent
but come on, you had the underground back then, man. You're probably too young. Well, both of us are about the same age.
It's not the same level of violence. That was, the SDS and things like that. I'm not talking about terrorist groups. I'm talking about General Joe Schmo, who's shooting people in Dallas.
Right. Well,
or ambushing police officers in Baton Rouge.
Right. Well, look,
there's lots of this. That just did not happen 20 years ago.
Let me ask you to do one thing for the community right now, and that is assure this Houston community that most of the times things are all right, and that folks like cops like you, good ones, are going to make sure of that.
We're doing our best. That's all I can tell you is we try to do our best every day, and bear with us, and we'll get through it together.
Well, look, Mark, it was a pleasure speaking to you. And first, I want to say thank you for calling into the show, because I think communication is one of the most important things, my friend.
Sure thing. I'll listen to you every week.
Oh, well, great. I appreciate that, buddy. You have a great one, okay?
You too.
Take care, my friend.
All right.
Bye-bye. Okay, I think Shannon wants me to go off for a little bit.
Yeah, just for a quick break so that we can get back to the issues.
Okay.
All right. It is currently 92 degrees and partly cloudy skies here in the heart of Montrose. It feels like 102 out there currently, with Houston humidity has over 50%. 20% chance of showers today, low tonight of 77, and partly sunny Friday with a 40% chance of rain, high near 90 degrees. And let's take a brief look at our roadways. Accident just cleared from the entrance ramp onto 288 outbound at Holmes. Accident also cleared on the North Freeway outbound at Airline, but traffic remains backed up to downtown. And down the road a bit, accident cleared on the Gulf Freeway inbound at Tlemcen. You are slow going on the West Loop in both directions from 59 to I-10. That's look at your Houston area weather and traffic. I'm Shannon McCurchie, and you're listening to KPFT Houston 90.1. Politics Done Right with Egberto Willies.
Muchas gracias, Shannon. Okay, let's go to Johnny, line number 2. Come on in, Johnny.
Good afternoon, Egberto.
How are you doing, my friend?
With all due respect to the previous caller, Mark, who was or still is a policeman, with all due respect, when white people say they can be afraid or are afraid when they're being followed by a cop, they don't know if they're going to be stopped or not, that's not quite the same thing as being a black person who has cops following behind, because of the simple fact of how often black people get shot. When white people are worried about being pulled over by a cop, it's because their license sticker is expired.
No, Johnny, let me just Johnny, I agree with you, but let me speak up here for Mark. And Mark, when I asked Mark a specific question because I wanted to infer that, and his answer was yes, he agreed. So I mean, he agreed that there is a difference. He agreed that there are racist cops out there, and so I think Mark is one of our good ones.
Okay, I'll give you that. The reason I called is I had an interesting, surreal experience of my own here at the house today.
Yes, sir.
I was doing my bills, and so I decided to catch up on MSNBC content I'd missed last night. Mm-hmm. I subscribed to the service where you can turn it on and then go back in time.
Right.
You know, like on the recording.
Yes.
So I had MSNBC playing in for hour after hour. It was the same stuff over and over again. And Brian Williams has not redeemed himself.
No, he's not.
No, and at one point he actually says one of the real tragedies of this situation is people whose businesses might have gotten some glass, broken because of some of the rioting, will help interfere with their ability to make a living. I said to myself, really?
You see,
the real tragedy is not people whose family members no longer with them. That's not the overriding issue here.
I am so proud of you because, in fact, if you notice, I mentioned that in the newscast as well. Because remember, the police chief as well said the same thing. And by the way, let's be clear here: the shooter in Charlotte was black, and the police chief in Charlotte is black. So let's realize, and the great thing about this story, it allows me to make the point that that yes, racism is based on race, but it is a whole lot complex than that, because at the time that these people react, or behave, they're acting as the institution that which needs systemic change. So I mean,
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I had two other points, and then I'll hang up.
Sure, go ahead, sir.
The first point is, there was this one part where I looked at the TV screen, and I saw this whole line of riot cops, and I heard either Brian Williams or one of his guests make a comment that these cops, I'm sure there's some who are thinking to themselves they're just as scared as some of the protesters.
Right.
And I thought to myself, well, if they're so scared and they resent the fact that they're doing this, even though they volunteered to become a cop, forget that for the minute. How about they get together with the other cops who don't like being put in that position and root out the cops who are causing this situation? It's not the people that are protesting, it's the bad cops.
Right, exactly. And you know what? And that's what I think I was illustrating to Mark. When Mark said that a lot of folks came out to protest beforehand, my pushback was that there's a reason why. It wasn't this one incident that caused them to go out there. It's a constancy of this. I mean, I was on a program, my coffee party session yesterday, conference call, and one of the things that I mentioned to them, because I said, is we have to step up. If we are true about representing all of America, all these other organizations, including liberal organizations, have to step up. We haven't been doing our job to, in effect, point these things out. You did a good job of pointing it out right there. Anyway, make your last point. Yeah.
After I got fed up with the MSNBC content, I switched over to the Roku channel, and I turned to Free Speech TV, because at 2 o'clock in the afternoon they do Democracy Now!
Right.
So I tuned in about 10 minutes late. But I'm telling you, the rest of that time, what a difference between the content you get on Free Speech TV and KPFT.
Yes.
It's like night and day.
Yeah.
And it's scary because our media has relatively little reach compared to the likes of CNN, Fox, and MSNBC.
But
this interferes with the general public getting the knowledge that it needs to make proper decisions.
But let me tell you this right now, and I want to knock on that, and all the folks that are waiting, all the lines are filled, but I am going to get to every single one of you folks. I want to tell you something. Right now, we are streaming on Facebook as well, and we are streaming elsewhere. So it's not only what folks are going to listen on air, but what we need all you folks that are listening and you guys that are streaming to do is share the stream and share this thing, because it's not going to happen just over air with community radio stations like this. Yes, we are a huge community radio station because we have 100,000 watts. But the only way
here's an idea for you. Next time you share an Uber ride with someone like Nina Turner, bring along some Republican in the neighborhood that you know.
Yes, I need.
Take them along for a ride and treat them out to lunch and let them see what you and Nina Turner see. And that way if they're semi-articulate, they can take that experience back with them to their friends and family.
Johnny, you're absolutely right. Now, Johnny, my lines are completely filled up, so I'm going to let you go, my friend. So you have a great day, my friend, okay? Barry, come on in. Line number 3. Barry, how you doing, my friend?
I can't think of a more comical segue than following Johnny.
Well, I love to hear your voice. Talk to me, my friend.
Okay. I hear you talk about humanity, profit over humanity.
Yes, sir.
And denouncing the police, but I'm not hearing you denounce the criminal thugs engaged in the...
Stop, my friend. No, I'm going to let... No, you want to get more time.
I need to get...
I just wanted to tell you that you're right. That's all I wanted to tell you, that you're right.
Don't hear you denouncing the criminal thugs engaged in the looting of the trucks and the burning down...
Barry?
To these criminal thugs be locked up.
Barry, stop. Let me first tell you that you're right. And folks, Barry is right. I needed to also mention that the thugs need to get that they are painting the wrong picture of the true protesters, and he's correct. There's a little caveat to that, but I'm not going to mention that because I don't have the time, but you're correct on that. Now continue, Barry, with your misinformation, I'm pretty sure.
Well, that's all I wanted to say.
Oh, okay.
Other than a 49-state landslide for the Trumpster.
Okay.
I don't have anything else.
Well, look, Barry, you keep listening and you keep calling, okay? And don't forget, the next time we have a fun drive, I'm going to be looking for you, okay?
Oh, I know. I've done it for the other shows.
All right. You take care, buddy.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, let's go to line number 4. Let's go to Rita. Come on in, Rita.
Yeah, hey, how are you doing?
I am doing fine.
Well, this week has been very disheartening.
Yes, it has.
It turns out a number of black people, some we heard about on the news, others we didn't,
exactly,
were killed this week, including the older gentleman who actually had his hands up, leaned against the car, and was both tasered and shot.
That's one in
at
Tulsa.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Yes. And found out that his car had broken down.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's pretty sad. And then the other person who, I'm glad I was watching the news today, C-SPAN. One of the ministers has stated that they were familiar with the person who was shot because he would go out to his car and read every day.
Right.
And then before he left, and he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Exactly.
On the wrong day with his book.
Yes.
And so it made me wonder, so now we can't read in the car anymore, we can't take a nap.
But here's the thing that I want to add to you, Rita.
Check our cell phones. What's going on here? He didn't even have a weapon, we found out, because they said that there was nothing to show that he had it. The actual chief of police said that.
Right,
there was nothing that showed it, and there was nothing that would show that he had some kind of, situation with the police officer.
Right, well, Rita,
that was very disappointing.
Yes, he goes out there every day to pick up his kid from the reporting that I have so far. Every day. Now, the thing about it is this. Let's say he had a gun. I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt in an open carry state. Let's say he had a gun, right? And if you remember the incident in Baton Rouge as well, the young man had a gun. He was just trying to make some money, so he had a gun.
That's right.
They were fearful for him reaching for that gun, so he lost his life because of that. And they say, he was resisting arrest. Okay, so he lost his life for coming close to the gun. Let's stop right there. We have these governments that are instituting policies that allow people to open carry, that allow people to conceal carry. This is a type of things that happen in a society where guns rule. You can't have it both ways. If you're gonna allow people to have guns, let them know that cops are going to be fearful of you, and in being so, your life is at risk. So, I mean, it's a complex issue. Now, I'm glad that
you said that, because I just looked, and not only is it an open carry state, but they don't even need a permit.
Thank you.
To carry that in their state.
So
even if he had a gun, it was legal. And each of the states thus far have been open carry. So I agree with you.
There you go. So, I mean, I hear you, Christy. Now, so we have to be careful of that. Now, Rita, my lines are full. Is there anything else you want to tell me real quickly, my friend?
Well, I'm just concerned about, just to end, I'm concerned about some of these students, whether college or high school, they decided to take a moment to kind of rest their eyes or eat their lunch in the car or do what people have always done. And because as a parent, I'm now even more concerned.
No.
And I do empathize. I hate to say this, I empathize with the rioters after listening to the ministers speak this morning, only to find out that they felt like it was an ambush.
Right.
So, and you know what? On another note, I'm of the age where I remember the 1960s and 70s, and I really do wish the police did not dress like. I mean, I highly respect my cousins and family members who are police officers, but I wish they did not dress like, quote unquote, they were Nazis. I hate to say that. Well, it's just really Rita, because the tactics sometimes remind me of that, and it's always towards people of color, especially black people.
Exactly.
And it's just very disconcerting.
Well, Rita, let me tell you what we have to do, because I don't like to just have a pity party talking about this. One of the reasons I have shows like this is the expectation that people will all get up and do something about it. And I can tell you specifically what to do, and that is engage in the community organization, make telephone calls to the police department and let them know that you're watching and you're expecting a certain kind of behavior. Call your congressman and tell them that you want to have not state laws, but federal laws issued in the way police can behave, so that they can all uniformly believe, yes, it is true. And I'm going to go against what I said, but I have to give some kudos to some of these guys, or actually to most of these guys. They do have a hard job, but I need to also follow the detective in New York that says, but that is what they signed up for. So thank you, Rita, for calling, and you have a wonderful day.
Well, before you go, yes, I will call the congressperson, but now if this was 30 years ago, yes, I would call my police department or other police departments. But in this day and time, I just don't feel as comfortable as I used to.
I hear you. Well, call your congress.
You know, when I was in my 20s and 30s.
I hear you. Call your congressman and let's get busy. Okay, Rita? Thank you very much for the call. Let's go to John. We're going to have to go a little quicker, folks, because the lines are completely full. John, come on in. How you doing, my friend?
Edward, I'm doing fine. All right, let me get down to this from a conservative point of view.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if any of these shootings are wrong, and it was a bad copying, it was an accident, it was poor judgment, okay, we conservatives want them tried, arrested, or whatever, punished when they do it wrong. Okay?
I don't doubt that.
I don't want you to think otherwise.
I don't doubt that at all.
Okay, because the cops, the military, they are here for our safety.
Right.
And if they can't do the job or they're doing it, they're dirty cops, they need to be gone. And if they violate the law, they need to be punished to the fullest extent of the law.
Right.
No ifs, ands, or buts.
I don't doubt your veracity. I don't doubt that at all. I think one of the things that the detective was actually specifying is that right now, criticizing the police as far as the right is concerned, it's almost blasphemy. And you understand what I'm saying, though, John. You really do.
I do, but I don't want you to really think we think that, because we don't.
Well,
I'm part of a community that open carries,
right,
concealed carries. We have a belief about, public officials, people who handle guns, how they handle guns, and how they interact with the public.
Right.
We're probably a lot more stern on that than you would believe.
I don't, again, like I said, I don't doubt that. The problem is that a lot of times your voice isn't heard. So what the same thing I tell all my liberal callers, I tell my conservative callers, you really want to make a change, you do have to act. And right. and if you think, including when you get on Facebook and you see some of the crazies out there, you got to act. I leave nothing unsaid. When I'm out there, I'm in the game, and we all have to be in the game.
Right. But here's the second problem.
Yes, sir.
It is like one of the earlier callers said. It's this 24-hour media spotlight on everything. Now, the lady that was on just a second ago
Rita
said, it was only a book. Well, I saw a picture earlier where they were showing the crime scene, and there was a gun on the ground that they were collecting for evidence. So I don't know. You don't know. The investigation has not been done yet, and yet both camps have already drawn up sides.
No, but
and it's similar to the hands up, don't shoot narrative that was later proved false, even by the Justice Department. Those things carry, and they sponsor feelings among people.
Let me tell you that the hands up was not disproved, and that is a myth that continues to go out there, even saying that the Justice Department said that didn't occur. They have people who said that it occurred and people who said that it didn't occur. But beyond that, what I think is important, including on what you're saying, right, is that people have to really get engaged. And not only that, like I said, it is true what you said, that as soon as something happened, people jump in your camps. But there's a reason for that. That didn't happen in a vacuum. Think about this. We saw a police officer, I think it was South Carolina or North Carolina, I don't remember which one, shoot a guy running away in the back. And as the cell phone video showed, we saw the police officer dropping something there as if I don't remember if it was a gun or what he dropped there next to the guy. In other words, if you lose, the last thing we need is for people to lose faith in police officers. Once you lose faith in police officers, they cannot really police. And one of the things that you see in Charlotte, where the police officer said he had a gun, the other people say he has a book. I'll be honest with you, I'm a pretty smart guy, and I am more likely to believe that somebody that is coming to that apartment day after day waiting for his kid likely was reading a book. And I am also likely to more believe that if there's a gun found there and nobody has ever seen this guy with a gun before, I don't know if it's the case, I'm just saying. Right. I am more likely to believe that that gun was planted.
And I understand that. But again, my point is, and the words you just said, I am more likely to believe that if he's going there day after day. That is hearsay at this point.
Yes,
both sides are hearsay. Neither you can prove it nor I can
you
prove
are
it
right. Again,
until a full investigation.
Again, assume,
that's all I'm talking about.
You are right, John, that it's hearsay because that's what we hear people saying about it. If it's proven that that guy has been out there day after day waiting for his kid, it's then no longer hearsay. So,
you're correct.
So anyway, look, John, I'm filled up. Anything else quickly you got to say? Thank you, my brother. You have a good one, okay?
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, let's go to line number 1. Let's talk to, I don't have the name. Come on in, line number 1. Comment about being black in America. Come on in. Yes, sir.
I'm Mr. Darius.
What's your name? Yes, sir. Come on in, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, being black in America, there's one time I was in downtown. My stuff was stolen. I called the cops. And instead of trying to get my stuff, they arrested me.
What was that? I didn't hear the first part. What were you? Why did they arrest you?
They said I was intoxicated.
Were you intoxicated? Were you intoxicated?
I was not intoxicated. I left my jacket and my key in a club, and they closed the club. I'm like, please let me get my stuff. I told them I'm going to call the cops, and it was a young cop, inexperienced. And I was arrested. When we took me to jail, and I argued with when I was in jail, I had to plead guilty because I didn't want to stay longer. I told them I did nothing wrong.
Did you take a breathalyzer or something?
No, nothing.
And you pleaded guilty?
Because I didn't want to. If it was on a weekend, I would just stay longer with it.
Wow.
And
yeah.
And I told them. I even told them, I did nothing wrong. This is what happened. I called the cops. My jacket was stolen.
When did this happen? When did this happen?
A year ago in downtown.
Do me a favor, because I need to go to the other caller, but do me a favor. You have go to politicsdoneright.com and drop me a line, either on Facebook or on my website.
I have your Twitter, Mr. Edbardo. I have your Twitter.
Well, okay.
I'm a member of KPFT.
Well, look, thank you, my brother. You just go ahead and send that to me. Let's see if I can hook you up with somebody, all right?
Yes, sir. I'm happy.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's go to number Donna on line 6. Donna, how are you doing?
Hi. This is going to be very brief. I just want to say that I don't know what happened in Tulsa. I haven't been able to get anything about it. And I'm wondering, can you tell me what happened? But also, why isn't it getting all the publicity that Charlotte's getting?
Well, I'm going to tell you something that is very interesting. And it looked like, before I say it, I think Shannon wanted to say something.
Yes, exactly. Because we didn't have enough publicity about it during the weekend when originally what happened in Charlotte until these protests started. Mm-hmm. I didn't hear about it. What mainly was flooding on the media was what was going on over in New York, New Jersey, and Minnesota. And so it really didn't get the ground and the traction until those protests.
And it's interesting because that is what the people in Tulsa feared. All right. And let me tell you something about our media. If it doesn't bleed, it doesn't lead. Okay? Mm-hmm. And what happens is, first let me tell you, you said you wanted to know what happened in Tulsa.
Yes.
There's a guy who stalled in the middle of the road. The cops were heading to somewhere else where apparently there was another problem or something to that effect. And when he stalled, he was walking. The officer came out, told him to raise his hands up, as you can see in the video from the helicopter and from the camera, the body camera. He had his hands up. He was walking. From the helicopter, you hear somebody in a biased manner says, "Oh, that dude looks like a bad dude." The guy was really walking with his hands up. I don't know how you can be a bad dude simply walking with your hands up, but that's what they said from the helicopter. And then he leaned on the car, And when he leaned on the car, they opened up with a taser. I think from what I understand, the taser makes you react a certain way, I guess. So he jiggled or whatever. And then she opened fire and killed him, the police officer.
Horrible.
And exactly as I stated, I have the video on my website, politicsdoneright.com. You actually see that happen. So nobody can say, I don't really think that is what happened.
Okay, may I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Then why didn't the people in Tulsa get upset like the people in Charlotte did and raise hell about it?
Let me tell you why now. Okay. Remember what Barry just called in? Barry said, Barry, my favorite super right-wing conservative, called in and said, Egberto, why didn't you mention that they were destroying stuff in Charlotte? Well, in what the police chief did in Oklahoma is he immediately, after some pressure, but immediately released the video. So people could see everything that's happened, and now that gives them hope that there will be some resolution because the video is out that shows what happens, and they believe now that they will be able to get justice. Not that they will, but they believe it is there. They see some sort of transparency. Now the people in Charlotte from the beginning told the guys, release the video of everything that occurred, and this police chief continues to hold on to the video. We don't know why. Here's a problem with holding on to the video. Holding on to the video means the video could be doctored. Holding on to the video means that when they decide to release that video, nobody can really trust that what you're seeing is what you're seeing. If you notice, a whole lot of times recently now that we have body cameras in a lot of places, somehow when it is time to see the event on body camera, the body camera either fell off, or the body camera wasn't turned on, or there wasn't enough light. And by the way, all of these things can be adjusted electronically. So what I'm saying is the Oklahoma chief of police so far acted correctly.
But there's breaking news.
What's the breaking news?
Came through AP. Tulsa police officer is charged with manslaughter in the shooting death.
There you go.
Of Terrence.
There you go.
Okay.
Fast action. Thank you very much for that,
Okay.
Shannon.
It's filed first-degree manslaughter.
Their first-degree manslaughter. So that is what's important. What Oklahoma did, and they should be that should sort of be the template of how these things need to happen, because it serves two purposes. It'll immediately make bad cops think before they behave badly. And I sure Mark, my favorite cop that called in earlier, would agree with that, because it'll make them know that I just can't act. I just can't kill. I have to make sure that I have to make sure that it's real.
But an innocent person lost their life, and all I can think of is as a woman walking down the street, if my car messed up and I had to get out and walk down the street. I'm not black, I understand. That's the big thing here.
Right.
But what I mean is, I would fear now for even my own life, with cops being nuts, that if I walked down the street and my car was broken down, I might get killed.
You know, again, I that's what I was telling to my coffee party brethren yesterday on the phone. I said, look, I mean, what we have now is a template, right? You follow the rules, you can still get killed.
Yeah.
You don't follow the rules, you can get killed.
It's better not to go out of your house.
But here's the deal. This so far has only been happening to black people
I understand.
or
Totally.
Latinos. So what I'm saying is, what we need from you as our white partner is to be a part of telling the story, because what happens a lot, right, is that a lot of, and today I speak to white people all the time that says, well, somebody, because they feel they would never do something like that, something else had to happen, Egberto. Something else had to happen made that cop react that way. So what I'm saying is, folks like you with an understanding, folks with empathy, you have to get involved. I was telling Shannon earlier, you know, and actually I was telling Tony earlier here at KPFT that a part of this solution right now requires white people. You don't want economic distress going forward. You don't want turmoil going forward. There are a lot of good white people that see a lot of what's happening right now in the right context.
Well, you know what I would like to say, and you're not going to appreciate this. Probably nobody out there will appreciate it, but I do truly mean this. I think that most people who become policemen have low IQs, and I'm sorry to tell you that. But I
can't say that. No. I know too many.
I believe it.
I know too many.
Because if you had a good IQ, you wouldn't want to murder somebody.
No. But again, I have too many police officer friends, and my cousin is a police officer.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah. I said most of them, not all of them.
I know, but I think most of them are very intelligent. Again.
But don't intelligent people not want to commit murder?
And most of them don't commit murder. So okay, I mean, we have to remember
I'm
that
just upset about it.
I understand. Most don't commit murder. So we have to. good. We have to.
I understand.
Yeah, right. So
thank you.
But no problem. Thank you very much for calling, Donna. Okay. And we got to do for a quick station break, and then I get to the next three.
Thank you.
Good.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Egberto. Good afternoon. It is currently 91 degrees and partly cloudy skies here in the heart of Montrose with Houston humidity over 70%. It feels like 101 and climbing out there. 40% chance of late night showers tonight and a low of 77. Expect that scattered thunderstorms Friday with a 60% chance of rain and a high near 90 degrees. And let's take a brief look at our roadways. On the Katy Freeway inbound before Houston Avenue, an accident is affecting the right lane and shoulder. That's backing up traffic to Shepherd. Slow going in a few areas around town, including on the West Loop, southbound from Irvington to Forness, and on the North Freeway outbound from Telephone to Tidwell due to an earlier accident. That's a look at your Houston area weather and traffic. I'm Shannon McCurchie, and you're listening to KPFT Houston 90.1. Back to you, Egberto.
Muchísimas gracias, folks. I'm going to have to be quick now because we have still full lines, and I have to get all this done in 7 minutes. So let's go. Joe, come on in. You got 1 minute. Joe, you're on. Joe,
yes. I got just a word of advice for my fellow liberals out there.
Yes.
I want to thank all the conservatives who call in and engage, and because, like you said, we really do need the other side in this solution.
Absolutely.
And my word of advice to our liberal friends kind of speaks to Donna's call, is that we really need to temper our arguments. I know this is a really hot button issue, and people are dying. But whenever we start to generalize police and things like that, we end up, we're no better than the racist police officers, the murderers who are in the minority, and we need to recognize that fact. And also, I want to say that, I've had more success tempering my arguments, with my conservative friends, because we need to push our conservative brothers and sisters to see our point of view. And we can't do that by being angry in our arguments and things like that. Just point out the gently point out paradoxes in what they claim to be true. Perhaps, maybe it's not. And I feel like we can get a lot more common ground that way. And
Joe?
My case in point is to take up your example versus like your counterpart, which I love him too, but Jeff Berg, he's like, every conservative who calls into his show wants to take his head off. But you've got, conservatives who call into your show, and I appreciate John's call.
I appreciate everybody, my friend. And look, I appreciate your advice as well. I try to follow that mantra because, we're all on this boat together, and I want us to all float together. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
We need to temper our arguments, man, fellow liberals.
Thank you very much, my brother. You have a good one, Joe. And keep listening and keep calling. All right, let's go to Russell, line number 3. Russell, you got a minute.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can, sir.
Okay, I'll try and do it in a minute. I want to ask and make a request.
Yes, sir.
That yourself and other talk show hosts focus your conversation not on the policemen themselves. The police are really not the problem. The problem is not racist police or incompetent police or police fearing for their lives, because when you frame it that way, you're going to get answers like sensitivity training and
okay, tell me the problem. You don't got a lot of time, so tell me the problem.
Okay,
I agree with you.
Let me tell you what the problem is and why so many people are upset is the system, the so-called justice system that says we will not punish, prosecute, indict, imprison police officers who kill unarmed black people.
Okay.
And we need to focus our conversation on that part. You'll never weed out all the bad policemen. Focus on the system that allows them to get away with it.
Okay, sir, did you just come on the show because if you read my blog, I actually...
No, I didn't.
Yeah, okay, because I that was specified in the blog as well. So you are absolutely right, okay? It's a systemic problem. So you are absolutely right, my friend, all right?
But we have to stay on that point. Let's not be drugged into the conversation about good or bad policemen.
Thank you.
That's not where the problem is.
And you are right. And I tell you what, you keep calling to this show and keep up with that type of narrative, because I think that is very important for us to get out there. It is systemic, and we have to look at it that way. All right?
Thank you so much.
You have a wonderful day, sir. All right, let's go to Sean. Sean, number 4. Talk to me, my friend.
I am formerly a commissioned law enforcement officer, certified peace officer, Texas, they call it TCLOS, certified officer.
Yes, sir.
And my experience going through the academy is this. And my classmates were not any more or less intelligent than the general populace I meet every day.
Mm-hmm.
There was a high incidence of folks who had what I called had their woo-woos up. You know, you know how the sirens go woo-woo. Well,
right.
You know, they were up. They were supercharged. That's
right.
the notion that they were going to be law enforcement officers.
I got it. Jump to the point, my friend. I need you to jump to the point because I'm really out of time. So jump to the point.
That's it. Only that, you know, demographically, they're just like the rest of it. Some of them are thugs.
Okay, I am glad that you. I mean that you. Well, not. I mean, if you read if you came onto the show early, that's one of the things that I pointed out in the blog. I made an important point to make note that
I'm a little Stone Age. If I was a blog, I wouldn't know what it was.
Okay, well, let me tell you what I did say, Sean, was that the police officers are but a reflection of our society, and as being a reflection of our society, we cannot expect them to be any different than society is. So, therefore, if we really want to change.
I disagree.
No, but let me finish.
Because we invest them with a great deal of authority and discretion.
That's why you had to let me finish.
Held to a higher standard.
You're correct, and that's why you needed to let me finish. Let me finish what I'm saying. What I'm saying then is that the difference between the average person on the street and the police officers is they have power. And in having those powers then, given that we know their prejudices are the same as the prejudices that the average person in society has, they have to be regulated and regulated strongly. And in doing so, then we can mitigate these occurrences. What Sean just said was, not Sean, what Russell just said was also very important. Russell spoke about this being a systemic problem. It is, in fact, a systemic problem, and we have to identify it as systemic because unless all officers throughout the country know that if people's rights are violated, they will definitely pay. People's rights will get violated from the same officers, in your parlance, have a woo-woo. Is that what it was? The woo-woo, right?
The woo-woos.
Well, look, it was a pleasure talking to you, Sean. Quick finish. What else you had to say?
No, that's it. I'll give you a secular amen.
All right. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day, folks. Folks, I really do appreciate you being a part of the show today. I really appreciate us talking about the issue. Remember, though, don't just sit back and complain about this issue. You have the power to do something about it. Right now, there are policies that people are working on in Congress to solve this problem. Support it. Call your congressperson and tell them to support it. You have a wonderful day. This is Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis. Go to Politics Done Right on Facebook.com. Adios.
Egberto. Thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willis. You can personally reach me by sending an email to egberto@politicsdoneright.com. Remember, Egberto is spelled E-G-B-E-R-T-O. Change starts with you. 90.1 KPFT gives you information not tainted by corporate interest. Please visit kpft.org and contribute. Let's ensure continued access to real information and news remain available to all. Again, thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right.